we're breaking down anything and everything Utica City FC related. This is the Keeper's Corner podcast with your hosts, Matt Sterling and Brandon Brooks. Let's get into it. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the final edition of the Keeper's Corner podcast. I should say final this year. We haven't settled on next year. So it's probably not the final, but for now, yeah. The all end of the season look back episode. Because Brandon, I don't know about you, but those games were games. They existed. I had them on, and I mean, I said it on one of the shows back in like January that I was numb to this team. I was not invested at all when I had the game on Sunday. Mm-hmm.
I am muted. I am fixing that now. Yeah, all I was saying was that basically, it didn't go as bad as I originally was thinking it was going to. So it went all right.
I had a special request from a listener.
Yeah? Oh. I guess there was somebody wanted to have her say hi. I think I know who that was. But yeah. It's every team's gonna have that season where they just don't want to remember it. Like we just want to get past it, get through it, and never look back. And unfortunately, that's this season. But we'll hopefully bounce back at some point. Hopefully sooner rather than later. But who knows?
Yeah, it's going to be a journey.
Mm-hmm.
Look, we'll quick sum up these two games. Utica won on the road. They played St. Louis. 7-4. There was a quarter of that game where it was like, oh my God, this team came to play.
Yeah.
And then 3/4 of the game where it was, that's the team I've watched all year.
Yep. What have we been saying all season? That we're most of the time we see them play 45 minutes. This game felt more like 15. Unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just like you, I basically had these on and just kind of like coasted through it pretty much.
Yeah, it wash, rinse, repeat kind of weekend.
And before we get too far, I just want to address my attire because I know that it'll draw questions. Haven't turned traitor, number one. Number two, it is a Blast jersey, but it is Julian's jersey. It just showed up the other day, and so I figured I'd throw it on for this because, still want Julian back on the team. Make it happen, Tommy. Make it happen. So yeah, and I'm not rooting for them in the and they're not like my team in the playoffs or anything, but I just wanted to represent one of our friends of the pod, not so much the Blast.
Yeah, Brand's just doing damage control before the Empire Strikers are like, wow, you bailed on us as the number 2 team.
No, definitely haven't done that. Although, I mean, don't get me wrong, I was kind of rooting against them for St. Louis, I was really like, come on, let them get the shield. Not so much like let them win, but like just let them somehow pull it off. And that last like 2.5 seconds, I'm like, come on, this is your play. This is your time. And it didn't happen. And it's like, oh, well, you tried. But they defended the Empire, or technically, they defended the Empire Fury because they did a throwback. So that was great. Anyway, sorry, didn't mean to sidetrack.
If only there was another team in the league that had changed names and could do a throwback day.
Now's the time to change this name. No, but yeah, I know you're talking about the Silver Knights, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if they still have the rights to it. Who knows?
I don't know.
That'd be a good question, actually.
You know, let's just say, look, yeah, it was a 7-4 game. Andrew Taylor, good job in goal.
Yes.
You know, he finally got a chance. Looks like he belongs on an MASL roster from these last 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could say, well, he had, 7 goals and 8 goals or 7 goals, 9 goals. Not great. And so yeah, he faced 51 shots. That's a really good save rate.
I mean, I said it before we went in. I said it last pod. Like, we need to play him. Like, out of anyone that we have on our roster right now, that typically travels for these last few games, then, I that's who I wanted to see play, and sure enough, he did, and he did. I mean, he did well in the first one for sure. And he did all right. He did passably in the second one. I mean, he got some minutes in. That was the main thing I wanted to see, and they at least got him that.
I'm good. Just was yelling at Katie about something.
No, I was just looking at the chat, and there's a few people from Utica that went to Baltimore, and they're still there. I mean, you got Schindler, Pat Thompson, Julian Rodriguez, so a bunch of people from that were in Utica at one point, and actually a couple of them were Silver Knights too, because Schindler and Pat were both Silver Knights. If you ever get curious, anybody who's a Utica City fan or honestly just likes MASL, in the off season, go check out some of the Silver Knights games. They were pretty good, and they bring back a lot of memories from like our first season with the old coach Ryan Hall and a bunch of the old OGs. So it's gives you some feel goods. Just make sure you pick one that we win.
Well,
sorry, I didn't mean to take us off track.
No, it's good. It's good. Otherwise, I mean, the game went as expected. St. Louis won. They opened up a lead once they got there. Utica, too little, too late. Bada boom, bada bing. It gave them a little hope for the Shield, which they squandered anyways. Sunday, up in Milwaukee for a while. I mean, for 80% of the game, it was like, wow, this team isn't just competing. You're going goal for goal with a team that last week blew them out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing it on 2 days between games. Yeah, they just played in St. Louis 2 days ago. Then they had to travel. And even the announcers brought it up. Could this be the time that Utica finally gets their first win at Panther Arena? The answer was no. We had a Slurpee score to end the game.
What?
7-11.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair.
I would rather that be the meme than...
Don't say it.
I mean, look, it's a rough way to end the season. More losses than the team earned points. Not a great season by any stretch. I will say there were a couple Pinal obviously the biggest bright spot for this team. Couple more towards the end, I would say Pagano,
I was gonna bring him up if you didn't.
aka the Big 6'7",
Yeah, I saw that too.
who I mean, look, he's gonna take time to adjust and learn this league, and you hope it's more if he's back next year,
Yeah.
given the chance to develop, and isn't just a flash in a pan. We kind of saw that with Manny Silva last season,
Mm-hmm.
where he came in midway through, broke out, had a couple really good games, then fizzled out, and he was on the team this year. Didn't have a lot of impact on the stat lines.
Mm-hmm.
So you hope it could be something to build off of, kind of more like a Mahdi.
Yeah, I wish we
And
had never
then,
let him go.
hey, if you're not making money, you're the last team in the league, you have the slimmest odds to make the playoffs, and someone calls and says, "We'll give you cash to get these guys."
Yeah, I know. I understand. I get it. It's just you know, hopefully maybe we can see him make his way back, because I think he was one of the ones that, I mean, if I had my choice, I would love to retain.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love to see him back in Utica.
Yeah, Brandon, I don't know what's really left to say about these two games, if there's anything you want to add.
No, I mean, the main thing I was going to touch on was the bright spot that we saw, which was just the fact that they didn't really just phone it in
Mm-hmm.
for either game. I mean, they could have. They absolutely could have. Yes, they did feel, I will say they did feel sluggish for bits of both games. And I mean, there was some bad giveaways as usual. Overall, just not a fantastic performance, but nothing we hadn't necessarily come to sort of expect with this season. Just kind of already being sort of disheveled as it was.
Mm-hmm.
But I was definitely going to touch on, I think Pagano's got a bright future. I really hope that it's with Utica. And actually, there was a post in one of the groups that got me thinking. Basically, someone talking about, who they would like to see retained for next season.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of started making my own list. And I should have brought it up to you to think about, but that's on me. Just
Brandon, I've been thinking about that for weeks.
just like a top 5 of who you would retain, like absolute, who would you make sure is on this roster. And I'm not talking like the most likely ones to stay, like the Gordys, the Joeys, stuff like that. I'm talking like pretty much everyone else. Logan, like I don't necessarily see him going anywhere, but like out of the ones who we typically expect to stay, who would be a top 5 that you'd want to see?
Look, obviously your priority needs to be retaining Sergio Pinal.
Agree with
You
that.
can't let your top goal scorer leave. He's in his second year. He's shown that he's not just a goal scorer, he is also a pass master.
He got his 40-point season, like you
Mm-hmm.
said.
Breakout year, and that was with practically no offensive help around him. Like the next best player on the team was Willie Spur as far as total points at 22, and the next best in points per game was Gio Alves at 1.1.
Mm-hmm.
But Pinal has to be your number one priority to retain.
I agree with that.
My biggest concern with him is that, he played college ball in the SoCal area. They found him while they were out on a road trip there.
Yeah.
And if there's two owners in this league that'll throw money at any problem, it's Phil Salvaggio and Jeff Burham, and
Yeah.
they're both SoCal teams.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, no, he's got to be your number one priority.
Hmm.
Um, I'm assuming you're going to include Wanalava as likely to return and don't bother mentioning him.
I was going to actually mention him. I mean, I think he's likely to return anyway, but because it's kind of like on the fence.
Hmm.
I could see him potentially going somewhere else, but I very seriously doubt it. Um, so yeah, I would probably include him on that list of likely to return, and so not part of the top five. Although if that wasn't the case, I would definitely have him on there.
Hmm. Um, I think Gio Alves and Willie Spur are probably your next two, not just from points,
Hmm.
but Gio, you've put this time into developing him. He doesn't have to be a fifth a 2020 guy like Pinal, but if he can just stay healthy
Hmm.
and play 22 to 24 games next year and be a 15 and 15 guy, maybe move him back to midfield.
Okay, fair.
Just he was midfield to begin. They moved him to defense these past 2 years, kind of out of necessity.
Hmm.
And I think he'd be better higher up as a defender than he is that last back line.
Hmm.
Um, but Willie, again, consistency. Like that's
He's
what you
been
want.
consistent. Yes.
Consistent.
Yeah, I mean, took number 2 spot for points on the
Hmm.
team, and I didn't see that one coming. Honestly, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
I know he's a good talent, but I didn't expect him to be second on the list. I expected him to
He's
be in the top 5.
he's also level-headed.
Yes. Oh,
You can
100%.
see he doesn't really get nothing seems to fluster him.
No. No, and we need that. I
Hmm.
mean, we've had players in the past that were very emotional, emotionally charged, and as their mood went, so did the team.
Hmm.
Like Bo. I mean, he
Hmm.
was a big one that if he was frustrated, if he was angry, if he was upset with how the game was going, or just something ticked him off in the game, he was the captain. People followed suit, and unfortunately, things would go south.
Hmm.
Or it would energize him and it would do the opposite effect, but it all depended on like the next like 5-10 minutes after whatever happened.
All right, so there's three.
Yep.
I'm gonna put Pagano as likely to return because he already has ties to Central New York.
Yeah.
He's from the Syracuse area, played at Syracuse University, and he's young.
Yeah.
Um,
Although he'd be on my list.
he would. He would absolutely be on my list, as would like Andrew Taylor. But again, he's a from upstate New York. Tommy had a history of coaching him, if I remember correctly, when
Hmm.
they drafted him out of the college draft. So like I'm not too worried about him going. And if Wilkin decides to, he can't commit for next year for whatever reason, Andrew's got upside.
Hmm.
So I'm okay with that. Um, I'm gonna say Tyson Santos. We didn't really talk about him that much this year just because we were getting blown out
Yeah.
in a few games or just giving up too many goals to ever keep up with. But he quietly had a very good year.
Hmm.
He's in the top 10 for blocked shots in the league. I want to say he finished with like 30 something.
Hmm.
He's also really young.
Yes.
So
Very.
there is a lot of room for growth.
Hmm.
Like I say, 22 games played, 33 blocked shots.
I mean, that's respectable.
And
Absolutely.
I want you to think back through the games. I can think of 4 or 5 of them where his blocked shot was behind Wilkin and he took it off the line and saved a goal.
Yes. Yep. He was there to make the save when Wilkin ended up getting beat.
And
Not
yeah,
because Wilkin played bad, but just he got beat.
he's 22 years old.
Yeah. He's got good
Like,
awareness.
great awareness. Give him a couple seasons just to really adjust to the indoor style.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the type of guy that could turn into, like, I want to say a Darren Toby or a Jake Schindler because they were more physical,
Yeah.
but a crafty defender that can add a little bit offensively. Not a whole, doesn't have to be a whole ton,
Mm-hmm.
but is going to save more goals than he's going to cost you.
Agreed. I definitely agree with that. He's
That's
on my
number
list as
4.
well. You're hitting my list, basically.
All right, let me look over this roster really quick again. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, I'll tell you this, just while you're looking for your last one. So,
Yeah.
if we hadn't included Pagano on the likely to return, if we hadn't included Taylor, those were definitely 2. You had Gio, which I definitely agree with. I think we need to retain him. And I think I'm genuinely believing that Gingrich will be back.
Mhm.
So I didn't include him, but he would be on that list if if I wasn't including people that were likely to come back, because we need
Right.
him. Like, he has a bright future, I think, because of how aggressive he plays. I'm just worried if he gets injured because of that aggressive play.
I was going to say, I think what he needs to work on in the off season, because he plays so recklessly,
Mm-hmm.
is putting on 10 to 15 pounds of muscle.
Yeah, bulking up a little bit.
Just a little bit of bulking.
Mm-hmm.
He's fast enough. He can afford to lose a tiny bit of speed for a little bit of muscle. And that way, when he's crashing into people and throwing himself around like a George of the Jungle out there, he's less likely to come up injured and more likely to out physical the player he's up against.
Mm-hmm.
It's something you see a lot, especially when, like, players go from high school to college or college to pros in, like, the NBA or NFL.
Right.
They always talk about, well, this guy's this, but now let's get him built for this style of play at this level.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I definitely agree with you with Gio. He was on mine. Santos was on mine. And Willie Spur was on mine. So far, we've matched up on 3. I'll let you do your last one, and then I'll go through my last 2, my other 2.
Okay. Well, the problem is I don't think this guy's likely to stay, considering his Instagram says that he's on loan.
Where to God?
But Juan Salazar, 5 goals and an assist in 6 games.
Yep.
He came in, he made an impact. And he did it on a team with, frankly, less talent around him that he had in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
There's upside. He's another guy who's like 25, 26, still has room to grow. And, I don't remember if I mentioned it on stream last week, but I looked back at the roster from 2018, 2019 when Utica first came to town, and you had a 40-point scorer in Slavica Ubiperovic.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You had Joey, Bo, and I want to say Lucio all had 30 points as well. Or Nate.
Oh.
Nate, Joey, and Bo all had 30-point seasons that year.
Mm.
And then you had, like, Lucio and after they traded for him, Freddie Mugin also had 25-plus point seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that team was offensive. But then you look at the defense, and your 2 starters were Jake Schindler and Darren Toby.
Yeah.
With Logan Roberts and Ben Raymond as their backups.
Yep.
And Vittorio Petrera. and Domenico Vitale.
I was gonna say, don't you forget Vitali.
Yeah.
It's Julian's, okay? All right. I just got it like yesterday or the day before, and I wanted to put it on. So you go away. Well, don't go away, but you know, you accept me. Accept me.
Well, that's
I had one Salazar too.
okay.
We're overlapping like pretty much completely. The only one that I was kind of gonna throw out there, I think even though we didn't see too much of him this season,
Mhm.
I still think that Ricky Orozco is a big one to watch out for in the future. We didn't get to see much of him, and I would like to see more. So he's kind of my wild card that I'm throwing out there. And either figure out what we're doing with Calvin or dump him. Or put him in active. Free up the roster spot.
Also, I guess honorable mention out of me because I do love defense, and that's Toy Tavares. He did
yeah.
have 20. He also finished in the top 10 in blocks this year with 28. He's a little bit older, but he's still at that age where like he can enter his prime as an athlete. He will be turning 27 later in about 3 weeks. So, there's
Okay.
6 to 8 years of prime left.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of going between kind of the triangle there on the roster, up in that corner of Orozco, Lozado, and Texera. So I was kind of looking at all three of them, like I'm gonna pick one to talk about, but I think that they all have a piece that would be nice to have.
Yeah.
I don't know. Figured it was a nice little talking point.
Yeah, and I mean it's something to talk about because we really don't want to talk about the games because they're games. They happened. They're done. The season's over.
Yeah. Yeah, we just got done talking about it. You missed it. The whole thing. Because you were mad at me.
Oh boy. Yeah, we just gotta. I think the key to who comes back though is going to. I mean, it's a good way to pivot here. Is who the next coaching staff will be. Are they offensive minded? Are they defensive minded? Are they going to have assistant coaches or at least one assistant coach to help not just address the team and deliver the message, but so like, if it's a defensive head coach, like a Jake Schindler type, you would want somebody that, well, your defensive head coach is instructing defensive players on how he wants the back line to run
Yep.
to be able to address the guys up top and work with them and relate to, okay, this is how you position your body as a target. This is why you move into and out of the box to drag defenders around instead of just like standing on the back line hoping somebody can make a move happen up top and get an open pass to you. But you need both perspectives. And which way the head coach goes will tell us a lot about who we can expect back.
Yep. So, based on the very limited info that I've gleaned, it does seem like we'll have a assistant. So it does sound like, from what I've heard through the grapevine, that um it would be a head coach, assistant coach, which I think is the right setup. I think that's the right call, because unless you have that assistant coach questioning, sort of, questioning or offsetting
Mm-hmm.
the head coach, then you can go down a rabbit hole real fast and just end up completely just not paying attention to the issues that may be present.
And even if you try to fix them, you might not have the experience or the ability to bring them to your team in a way that your team understands.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Everybody learns differently. So having that second perspective makes things easier for everyone involved.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit I gleaned was that it'll be a few weeks probably before we hear the coaching announcement. I'm sure the league doesn't want that kind of news to overshadow the playoffs and chase for the Ron Newman Cup. But as a Utica fan, I think I could speak for myself as well as most of chat and possibly you, Brandon. We would prefer that news sooner rather than later. Look, people are going to be deciding if they want to renew their season tickets here,
Yep.
and knowing who the head coach would be goes a long way.
Yeah, that's kind of what that's something I've been saying, is just, people, like you said, they're going to be making that decision. They have until middle of May to make the decision on whether they're going to renew their tickets or not before they just go out to the masses. So I would say that's your absolute drop dead date on when to announce a coach. But the sooner the better, because then, people can mull it over and be like, okay, do we think it's going to turn things around? So I definitely, by then, 100% they have to make that choice by then, and that announcement, rather. Sounds like the choice may already been made, but yeah, they need to tell people about it.
Yeah. I was gonna say if they do, there are really good changes. If not, things will be the same. Yeah, look, I'm gonna just draw a comparison here, which is uh, as an owner, the best thing you can do, especially if it's a sport that you're not familiar with,
Mm.
is to listen to the people under you and follow their guidance. If you don't, and you insist that you know best because you have the money and therefore you are right, you end up as like the Woody Johnsons, who is the New York Jets owner.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I mean, or, just someone that meddles, or the Al Davis, um, what's his name, Mark Davis now, and the Jerry Jones
Mm-hmm.
of the NFL, where, yeah, you could throw money at a problem, but you're not going to get to that mountaintop and lift the trophy that you want, because the smartest person in the room listens to those around them.
Yes, you have to.
The one that ignores them and just plows ahead without taking into consideration the experiences, the abilities, the knowledge of others, and adds it to their own to better make leadership decisions, they ultimately sink the ship.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely like you. A wise man listens to the people around him. And if you don't, I mean, you're asking for it. Like you said, we basically will just stay the course, but the faces will change.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, you need to listen to the coaching staff. You need to listen to just the reaction of the people, the team, the fans, stuff like that. Maybe not every reaction, but if there's a serious outcry, maybe look into some things, and really try and embrace your fan base, because we are the ones that help pay your bills.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, St. Louis being a top 4 team this year,
Wasn't on my bingo
I
card.
I
Almost,
can't
almost
dis
number one. Almost.
yeah, so I don't want to take away from them because that's a great season. 13-5-6, you got 42 points. You only missed the Shield by you win that last game in regulation, you got it. But this is now, let's see, Jeff Locker removed Everton Morera from head coach before the 2021 season.
Mm-hmm.
So 21 to 22, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5. It's now 5 years later. They finally look competent, but the teams that were ahead of them or picked to finish ahead of them, Kansas City, they didn't play like Kansas City for a huge stretch of the season.
Right.
Um, they had one little kerfuffle early on, and they got rid of Steph Mijatovic, and then that seemed to affect the chemistry and the trust within the locker room. Uh, Utica completely imploded on itself from what it was 2 years ago. Like we talked about,
Yeah,
the
it kind of did.
turnover from the Ryan Hall final season to the Everton first season was like 50%. But then from Everton's first season to this year is over 75%,
Yeah.
which isn't sustainable.
No, it absolutely is not. 100%. 75%.
Mhm.
No, it's definitely not sustainable. It's you need to do something.
So I don't know if it's more like, well, it took him 5 years, but he finally figured out coaching in this league. Or, well, he's competent finally, but it took those around, those that were his competitors being more incompetent than they had been for them to make the climb.
Combination.
Yeah,
Because, I
two
mean,
things can be true at once.
I'm not going to try and take away from the fact that they climbed to the position, that like they climbed to the position they did this year, but they did get some help.
Mm-hmm. All right, Brandon, we'll wrap it up here, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say this week we're just kind of we had a couple of games to talk about, and I mean it's the end for us for Utica for the season. I mean we're done, so
mm-hmm.
not much else to really talk about. No games to predict, nothing like that. So
Yep. Um, Look, we'll just go through this really quick, I guess. If you had to guess, there are, I would say, three main ways that this coaching search can go, which is Utica hires somebody with ties to the organization and for the fans, it doesn't matter if they're an experienced head coach or not.
Some fans, not all. Don't generalize like that, because
Okay.
yeah, I would love to see. Don't get me wrong. So let me just take that real quick.
I guess I should say there's 4 ways that it shakes out then.
Because I don't want them to sign or to have, like, I'm just gonna throw it out there, Nate and Joey, just as an example. I don't want them to have them be the coaching staff just to play on the reaction of the fans, play on just like, oh, fans are so energized now because, you know, the boys are back in town basically, and they're gonna right the ship, but with no actual necessary expectation that they will. Or, you know, I don't want them to sign them to do that just to sign them to say, hey, we got 2 great names from Utica's past back in the fray. I wouldn't mind one of them being assistant, but if we pass on somebody else, I don't know any other like coaches necessarily that are out there at the moment, but you know, if we passed on somebody who has a lot of promise for a fan favorite, I would not agree with that at all. I think that whoever we choose needs to have a lot of promise and needs to have at least some track record, whether it's a futsal background, which or just some sort of background, either in MASL or soccer coaching in general at a decent level. But don't just throw Utica players or even former Utica players in the coaching slots to throw them in the coaching slots, because that's just, it's setting us up for failure while just trying to put makeup on a pig, basically. You know, you're making the fans feel good because you're bringing back fan favorites, but it's not going to produce anything. Don't do that, please. So, just my thought.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess it's ties to the organization with some level of coaching experience, which is why I said, like, a few weeks back, a Jake and Joey tandem, because they had experience coaching at M2 and M3 levels. Tied to the organization, but does not have that coaching experience in the MASL pyramid. That'd be like a Nate and Toby, who are going to be coaching at Nate's alma mater, Baldwinsville,
Yep.
in the fall. So they have coaching, just not MASL.
Right.
And coaching teenagers is different than coaching professionals.
Absolutely. Although sometimes they act like teenagers.
Oh. I say, experienced, no ties to the organization. That could be, like we mentioned before, the Juliano Oliveira, former head coach of the Milwaukee Wave. Or no ties to the organization. Well, he spent some time there, so I won't say no ties to the organization, but not like main tied to the organization, kind of like we saw with Obasi and Empire.
Yep. Which he moved up
Yeah,
quick.
he spent some time there. But, like, when you think of his MASL career, you don't immediately think Empire.
No. Not that he did all right in Utica. He did all right. But yeah, no, he's been around the league.
Yes.
So that'd be interesting to see Schindler. I mean, he's coached at M2. I guess the question is I actually, I'll be honest, I never really thought about him. I could see that. He's local.
Local-ish, you know.
I mean, local-ish, but local enough compared to, you know, other people, even some of the ones that, you know, we would have thought potentially for in the coaching staff in general. I mean, if say Joey, at minimum, say Joey was assistant. I mean, he's still NYC. Like, he's still a ways away. So, I mean, it's Schindler's still closer than that. So that would be an interesting one. I think it's a stretch, maybe a little bit, but like I said, he coached the Lancers, in M2. He took them. I can't remember if they went all the way or if they were close. I think they were close. I don't think they took it.
I think they lost in the finals.
Yeah, but they had a stellar team, and yes, it was M2, but it's not far off. So I don't know. I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the way it goes. I don't know. I don't really have a favorite at this point because there's not as much known about the coaching search in this league as there would be in big leagues.
Right.
But it is what it is. We'll have to see. Hopefully, things can get turned around. I don't know. Next year kind of feels like it's going to be a full rebuild.
Again.
Which is pretty much what started this year, just without ever admitting it to the fans. Yeah. But it sounds like you think the experienced coach with ties to the organization seems to be the most likely.
Again, I think at minimum one of the slots has to be somebody with ties to the organization. Whether that's assistant coach or head coach or both, one of them I think would make sense. If they end up being both, then yes, the top one, the head coach has to have, like I said, a decent bit of coaching experience. So yes, experience over fan favoritism.
Yeah.
Has to be the way to go.
I agree. All right, Brandon. Let's just give our quick who you think takes home the Ron Newman Cup, and then we'll call it a wraps on the 2025-2026 season.
So, well, I guess first I want to think about the matchups, because we got the Wave and Empire, Ambush and Comets. On paper, these two games are pretty straightforward. Wave takes it, Comets take it. Then, now, do I think that that's really going to change much? Probably not. I think that that's probably going to I think that is potentially how it pans out, especially given that the Wave have home field. And I guess the Ambush, I could see that one going either way. So I think Wave make it through, and just for the heck of it, I'm going to say the Ambush make it through. I think the Comets get knocked out, so I don't think it's the Comets. San Diego is a big top contender, obviously, as well as Baltimore. I mean, they're both pretty, they're both pretty good teams this year. I think if I had to just lay a guess out there, the likely answer is it's probably going to be the Sockers. I feel it in my gut that it's going to play out that way, and the main reason that it's going to play out that way is because they want to send Craig Childs out on a high note. So I think they're going to be doing everything in their power to make sure that they get that cup for this season. The team that I would love to see win, just for the simple fact that I think they're kind of flying under the radar, is Milwaukee. I think that would be, we don't really, you haven't really seen too much about them except for, Alex Sanchez. I know he just took Golden Boot, I think. So I mean, I shouldn't say they're flying under the radar, but you definitely don't hear as much about them as you do a lot of the other teams. And I think that, I don't know. I think I would like to see them take it, but I just, San Diego built one hell of a team this year. They did. And so I could see them taking it. And I get the feeling that's how it's going to play out, is basically a by the numbers. They just take it. But I would like to see Milwaukee. That's all.
Yeah, look, I mean, if I was betting on it, I'd put my money on San Diego. They're the most well-rounded team.
Yeah.
They have the most depth. They have the experience. They have the leadership. They don't have to deal with Chihuahua. And even if they do have to play Baltimore in the finals, they only have to play at CQ once.
Right.
It's not going to the tiny arena and then a mini game at the tiny arena.
Right.
Yeah, I think your biggest toss-up is Ambush and Comets. That one can go either way. These teams haven't played since January. And they were getting pretty feisty between them at the time.
Agreed.
Milwaukee probably gets past Empire. Too much offensive firepower.
Yeah.
I mean, Baltimore gets that trump card at home. They have home field advantage. They play on the small field. But I'm going to have to look this up because I think after Utica beat Baltimore at CQ Arena, didn't the next week? Let's see, where is that game? 7-6. No, okay. Milwaukee lost there 7-10.
Okay.
And then 6-7. But they beat them at home, that 10-9 instant classic. And they beat them in the first game also 6-7. So Milwaukee's going to win a game by 6-7 in one of their series because that's just what they do.
I hope that meme gets left in the past.
And yeah, no, San Diego for the cup, I think.
That's just what it feels like. That's just, it just seems like it's been sort of a by the numbers year. I just see it ending by the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest surprise was how disappointing Utica was and how almost mediocre Kansas City was compared to what we expected from their preseason, outlook.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to add, Brandon, here at the end?
No, it's been a year. For everybody that stuck it out, it's been a ride. It's been, as they said on the social media. I mean, it's been a ride this season, and I appreciate everybody that stopped by and stuck it out with us and listened to us complain. And it's been a pleasure trying to cover this stuff for y'all for yet another season. May not have been the best season, but we tried to make the best of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's about all I had.
It was a ride.
It was a ride. It was
like Action Park level ride.
Yeah, at times it was a painful ride, but it was a ride all the same.
Yeah. Until next time, if there is a next time, we want to say thank you for joining us on this journey.
Yep. As
He's
always.
Brandon. I'm Matt.
Signing
Utica.
out.
Thank you for listening to the Keeper's Corner podcast on whatever podcast app you use. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. If you'd like to interact with us, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Twitter or X, whatever you prefer to call it. We have a TeePublic shop where you can get UCFC player swag or help support the podcast. Thank you. We appreciate it. And one last thing, go Utica City.